happiness. It's something that everybody seems to be promoting. Everybody strives for happiness. I've found that happiness is pretty much unattainable. So this video is not going to be about making you happy, but the alternative that I offer is how to live a happier life. And that takes away the destination of happiness. It takes away the goal of happiness. We don't need to be happy. We just need to be happier without feeling the pressure to actually arrive at the destination that we call happiness. Because to be honest, I'm not convinced that it actually exists. So just to give you a bit of context, like 4 years ago, I was feeling quite frustrated and lost in life. I didn't know how I was going to ever achieve the things I wanted to achieve. I wanted to be self-employed. I wanted to have friends. I wanted to live in a nice place that I enjoyed. Since then, I've lived and learned a little bit, and I've got together 4 keys or 4 ingredients to living a happier life that I'm going to share here. The 4th one is the most important, because without it, the previous 3 aren't really going to serve their purpose in contributing to that happier life that we're aiming for here. One ingredient that's really helped me to live a happier life in the last years is to have goals. And the reason I have goals is not necessarily to achieve the goals, but the goals give me a point of focus and they give me a purpose each day. Today, my goal was to make a video. That's a small goal, but recently I ran a marathon, and that was a bigger goal that took maybe 3 to 4 months to complete. And even before that, I had a goal of running a half marathon. So that was, almost a year ago, and I had this goal, and it was never really about running the half marathon or running the full marathon, but it was about what was required of me in order to at least attempt to actualize that goal. And what was required was that I needed to run. So even when I wasn't feeling good, I had that accountability, and so I would go and I would do the run. And of course, we know that running is exercise, which is good for mental health, good for overall contributing to a happier life. But also your goal might be to learn an instrument. You might have the ambition to learn how to play Banana Pancakes by Jack Johnson on the ukulele, and you tell a bunch of your friends that in 2 months' time you are going to play the song for them. And then that gives you the accountability, and it's going to get you to show up and play the ukulele even when you don't want to. Like maybe you actually don't get to do that showcase of the song, but the point is that in those moments when you feel lost and untethered, where you feel pain, anxiety, frustration, just unsure of what to do, you can reflect upon that goal and then get yourself moving. And of course, when we move, when we take action, when we exercise, when we play, when we write, or whatever it is that you're doing, it's going to bring vitality and vibrance into your being, and that's going to contribute to a happier life. Because when we stagnate, when we don't do things, when we just wallow in our pain and sorrow, which of course, look, we all do it, it's fine, it's not a big deal. I'm just here to offer a solution that might help when we're in these periods. I'm in a period right now where things are quite emotionally challenging for me, and it's the goal of creating and sharing with millions of people around the world that is keeping me anchored and keeping me here showing up. And this is a really enjoyable experience for me to be here, to be sharing, to be speaking. And it was difficult for me to get everything set up and to come up with the idea, but I know that this is valuable for me, and I know that it's going to be valuable for the people that connect with it on the other side. And so in those moments where you feel like things just are not going well and that they never will go well, if you have that goal that you set when you were in a place of clarity, it's going to make moving through this experience, as painful as it might be, a whole lot easier. And thus we live a happier life despite our pain. Go on frequent adventures. I was recently traveling and a thought or a sentence popped into my head, and the sentence was,
travel often, not always.
And what I interpreted that as was to travel but remain grounded at the same time. Because when one is always traveling, it's always exciting, it's always chaos, and there's not much grounding happening. Whereas if one is grounded all of the time, we can stagnate. And when we stagnate, we start to just feel off at times.
Traveling is about discovering new places. New places can be physical. New places can be states of being. A new perspective. When you travel, you leave the familiar and visit the unfamiliar. If you visit a new perspective by opening up your awareness beyond that which you think you know, consider a new thought philosophy. Maybe there's something more to life than what you thought there was. Say hi to the people that you look at and judge. Download a dating app and meet somebody new. Even though you think dating apps are stupid. Go for a hike even though you hate hiking. Go for a run even though you hate running. Don't eat food for a day. Just because. What's that like, I wonder? Travel often, not always, because if you always are traveling, you never ground, you never integrate and allow everything to settle.
It's about having a balance of the two, because when I've been traveling for extended periods, I might find myself in a situation where I feel stressed out and like not anchored, not tethered to my being or the earth and my purpose. And so the remedy for this, in my experience, was to ground and to find a settled location and to actually build something, build a foundation where I could have people around me, where I could have money coming, where I could have a place that I knew I could go back to at the end of every day. Because when you're traveling, you don't always know where you're going to be staying or who's going to be there, if anyone's going to be there. And so I believe that there's incredible value in finding a balance, an equilibrium between the two, because when we do this, then we get the best of both worlds. We get the sense of adventure, fun, and freedom that comes with traveling. When I say adventure, when I say travel, I mean travel outside of the realm of your everyday life and reality, because that's the container that we put ourselves in that can restrict us and prevent our growth and expansion. And it's by growing and expanding and realizing the spontaneous nature of this existence that ease and freedom emanates in, through, and around us. And this is super supportive in our mission to live a happier life where we find more joy in each and every moment. And the contrast that we recognize as we cultivate experiences of groundedness and adventure are what culminate in the totality of our existence here. A third ingredient to a happier life is to have community, because I believe that a place is only as good as the people that surround you in that place. And I've been in some pretty beautiful places, and I've been pretty miserable in those places because I didn't have anybody around me. Similarly, I've been in places that aren't so nice, and I've had people around me, and it just makes everything seem more enjoyable. And I think it's because a place in and of itself is quite neutral, but it's who we are in the where we are. You know, they say wherever you go, that's where you are. Whoever you're with is going to have a big impact upon who you are in the where that you are, because we're all mirrors for one another. And sometimes we forget our beauty and our gifts, and we need someone else to reflect that back to us. And if you're in a period of hardship or pain or challenge or self-doubt or whatever it might be, surrounding yourself with people that are going to uplift you on your journey can be super beneficial to contributing to the happier life that I believe we are all able to attain. And the thing about cultivating community is that community can take time to cultivate, and often when we're in a period of hardship or not feeling ourself, we might try to grab a shiny object. Like we might try to just go away somewhere. We might go somewhere familiar that we know is going to take the edge off. But the most sustainable solution that I have found is to actually take the time to be in a place and to cultivate community within that place. And that can take months, it can take years, and it takes courage, because you need to actually meet and connect with the people that are going to become your community. It's like starting a business. You need to invest time or money and you won't see a return for a while. It's the same with building connections. You need to invest your time. You need to do things that you wouldn't usually do in order to connect with the people, and it'll happen often in very spontaneous ways. But once you have that community, once you have those people, everything gets easier, and the life you lead will be happier as a result, because you're able to give yourself to these people when they need it, and they're able to give themselves to you when you need it. And it's this beautiful synergy, symbiotic relationship where you can support and uplift one another as required. Community makes everything easier. It makes doing hard things easier. It makes going through emotional periods easier. It makes playing easier. And the fourth ingredient, and perhaps the most important, is to be alone. Take time by yourself. You can have loads of friends, you can have loads of adventure, and you can have all sorts of external goals in your life, and everything can be very busy and active in that respect. But if you don't take time by yourself to reflect, to breathe, to rest, and to integrate all of the other things going on in life, I think we're missing out. In yoga, the last posture that you typically do is called shavasana, and it's said that without doing your shavasana, which is basically just lying down on the ground for a few minutes at the end of your practice, the rest of your practice was a waste of time, because it's in the shavasana where you actually absorb the nourishment, the nutrients of your practice. And it's said in many religious texts, the Sabbath, the day of rest, is imperative in order to reap the fruits of your labor from the 6 days prior. So they would say, if you work your ass off 6 days a week, but you don't rest for one day, all of the labor was wasted. And I find it very profound to contemplate such notions, because it seems so counterintuitive to what we've been conditioned to believe here in the world, that you have to work, that you have to grind, that you have to hustle and achieve things. But what if the secret to actually living a happier life is in taking that period of rest, taking that time to yourself, taking the moment to be away from everybody and everything, to drop your pen, to put down everything and just let your goals be for a minute. I've found in these moments of rest, I find equilibrium, I find balance, I find groundedness. Without the rest, it's near impossible to actually take inventory and take stock of everything. And being a human is a really weird experience. And there's good stuff happening one day, and then there's horrible things happening the next day, and then you might just have a period of just meh. Or you might have expectations and then you're let down, and then you're like, what the hell? My whole happiness was based on an expectation that never came to be. And then you realize, well, maybe my expectations need to change. Maybe I need to let go of them. Maybe I need to reevaluate how I live a happy life. Can I even live a happy life? I don't know that we can be happy all of the time, but we can be happier. That's it for this video. Have a great day. Check out this video next. You'll probably enjoy it. There's a newsletter you can sign up to. Link in the description. I share helpful thoughts like this in written format. Take care of yourself. Have a beautiful day.